Welcome back to another episode of The View from the Ninian. Two games to discuss this week. One of the maddest weeks of football I think we've ever seen at Cardiff City. A bit of a change from two wins. It's one win, one loss, but also a whole host of calamities to talk about. Joining us as always, Ben Price, Tom Phillips. Ben Price, how are you?
I'm very all right. How are you?
All good, thank you. Tom, how are you?
Fantastic, thank you very much.
Great to hear. Great to hear. Tom, do you want to tell everyone about the chocolate you just ate?
Yeah, thanks. Just done a whole bar of dairy milk top deck bubbly. Delicious chocolate. Feel extremely sick now. So this performance could go either way. I could be high on sugar or I could collapse off my seat. So let's see what happens.
I'm looking for like a really solid peak and then like a proper about 45 minutes in, a monster sugar crash. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
he's hypoglycemic in front of our eyes. Let's talk about the football that's happened this week. Two games to get through. Ben, let's start with Burton Albion on Tuesday. Somehow we lost that game of football. What an incredibly frustrating evening it was.
Yeah, it was silly, wasn't it? I think that is the theme of both games this week. It's just absolutely stupid games of football, but for very different reasons. There's just so much with that game. I've left just going like, how did we not win 10-0?
Mm-hmm.
How did we lose?
Mm-hmm.
And how has that referee got a job? I think all of those are really important questions to ask.
And we'll try and get to the answer through the discussion of the game over the next 10, 15 minutes or so. But Tom, we saw 5 changes again to the starting 11. It's a bit of a theme. We saw 5 changes to the starting 11 that played against Leyton Orient as well. BBM asked the question earlier this year. He wasn't sure if he's the Tinker Man. Is he now becoming the Tinker Man? Because to me, it feels like he is.
It's quite funny now because a few weeks ago we were like, it's great. He's refreshing it because we were like winning games. We lose one game and suddenly like, what's he doing? This needs to stop. He needs to know it's starting 11.
I'm not saying it should stop.
Feels that way. But no, like when it's going well, it does look good, right? He's bringing people in, keeping everyone fit. Everyone's getting game time. And I'm still a big fan of it. This was just one of these games where like we should have won it. We created enough chances. The problem isn't with the selection on the field. The problem was the people on the field didn't convert in the way they should have. So I've got no problem with him swapping it about. The results have been coming for us all season with him with this approach. He's keeping everyone fresh, everyone getting game time, everyone chipping in. So it felt like one of those games that I constantly watched in my like late teens with Cardiff, where we seemed like we were doing all right. We were the better team by far, and somehow we've lost 1-0 to QPR or something like that. Yeah. It was just giving me massive flashbacks. And I haven't felt that frustrated about a Cardiff result in a long, long time. I got over it pretty quickly because there's been so much good this season. But yeah, a really, really hard one to take.
Invariably, those games would always be on a Tuesday night as well, wouldn't it? It would be kind of like a slightly emptier ground. It would be a Tuesday in November. And it would always be against somebody like Charlton, who at that point were a lower to mid-table team in the Championship, and we'd somehow lose 1-0.
Every time we play Preston or Ipswich, it feels like that was the game.
Preston or Ipswich are the prime. Yeah, I mean, Preston are in my head, if we lose a game 1-0 where we've been the better team and we've come away frustrated, it's Preston, invariably. Those fucking bastards from Preston. We started strong though, didn't we, Ben? I think the first 10 minutes was pretty much all Cardiff City. I don't know how we didn't score. We had so many chances. We probably could have scored 4 or 5 in that first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I still came away thinking we didn't create enough or didn't do enough with like before we created chances as well. It was just a really weird period of time where, like, and this is no disrespect to Burton, who was like fighting for their lives down the bottom, but they're dreadful. But they came with a proper game plan and nicked a win, and fucking good on them, fair play to them for that. But I was looking at it going, we need to be slapping these. If we're looking to get top 2, we should be slapping these 3 or 4. And that goal just never came. We just never found that breakthrough. We were just dawdling on the ball that little bit too long, and it gave them time to get those 10 men behind the ball and just block it out. So any chances we did create, they weren't massively clear cut. They were all sort of half chances being snatched at. It was just unbelievably frustrating. It just felt really, really slow and plodding, even though we were creating so much and saw so much of the ball. Was it 15 minutes? We had 90% of the ball, something like that?
Yeah, well, by the end of the game, we had 77% of possession. We had 523 accurate passes to their 97. They didn't even hit 3 figures with their passes, which obviously a lot of it was just clearing the ball and because they were kind of backs against the wall and all that kind of stuff. Tom, obviously, Salek was a kind of key culprit in the first 10 minutes of missing those chances. Keeper made some good saves. He could have probably done better with a couple of those chances. Is that when his head starts to go? We've kind of seen at times this season that Salek cuts a frustrated figure. When he misses those chances, is that when his head drops?
I don't think so, because I think he still plods along. He still gets in those positions, and as we saw later on, creates chances still. I think we've just got to get used to him looking like he's annoyed, because I think that's just how he gets the best out of him. He always looks slightly pissed off. I think if you look completely uninterested, I'd be worried. But that's just the way he plays. Like, if you've got a defender, you know, when a foul gets given against Salek and the defenders, they're going, good decision, ref, he's straight in their face to have a moan, going, what the fuck you on about, sort of thing. And I kind of love that about him, that needle. Yeah. So I don't get too worried about it. I don't think his head drops. Yeah, it's just his nature. And yeah, if he was smiley and happy all the time, I think it would look odd.
Yeah, it would look odd. I completely get that. Ben, you've already touched upon it, but I'm going to ask you again. Obviously, we dominated the game. We had 8 clear-cut chances, or big chances, according to FOTMob, please sponsor us. 8 shots on target. We obviously had the better clear-cut chances, but we didn't seem to do anything with it. And by the end of the game, we kind of struggled to break them down towards the end. We were trying to pass it around, as you said, dawdling on the ball. Is that when BBM ball comes across as quite frustrating? Because there are times where you just think, lump it in the box, put the cross in early and see what happens. And there are times where we just completely don't do that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's BBM ball or players like misinterpreting what's being said, because
he did say that in his post-match, didn't he?
Earlier in the season, we were getting the balls in quite quickly. It just felt like against Burton, it was very plodding and very one pace. It felt sort of back to Reza-esque, and it's like it's those bad habits creeping in again that we thought that were like BBM did very well to get rid of early on. It's got to be quicker. The ball, there was no pass. Admittedly, it was more difficult when there was like 10 behind the ball, but there was no clear pass sort of through there that cut the line, sort of split defenders. It was all sort of get to the 18-yard box, pass it around side to side, hope a little bit of space comes up. That space doesn't come up, float a really slow, hopeful ball because you've taken all the pace off the ball, and it was cleared and possibly come back in again. It was just that. It was like sort of training ground sort of drills for a lot of it. It just needs to be a little bit sharper.
Yeah, if you look at FOTMob, our accurate crosses were 28%, which kind of it says a lot, doesn't it, about the way we were playing the ball. Let's talk about their disallowed goal, Tom. Obviously, it was the kind of turning point in the game, really. Cross comes in. Yusuf Salek is probably just a bit stronger than his defender. Referee gives a foul. Are you still trying to work out where the foul is?
Yeah, it's fucking bollocks, isn't it, to put it bluntly? Like, I've watched it and tried to look for, I don't know, anything the referee could have seen. Like, his arms are up in a position that looked like he could have pushed it, but all he's done really is kind of get round the defender. He's done nothing wrong. The defender's gone to floor because, yeah, Salek's stronger than him. He's in the complete wrong position. It's a really, really clever run.
Yeah.
And it's a really tidy finish. And that's all it is. And the whistle goes before he even puts it in the back of the net. It's like as he kicks it. He's decided really early, the referee there, and he's just got it wrong. I think you've just got to let it run and just see if... I think sometimes in that split second, your instinct is to blow, right? Give yourself a second, see what happens, and if you still think it is, then give it. It's just the wrong decision. It's rubbish.
There's a little bit before where they're sort of pulling at each other, and that is the only thing I can think the ref's gone, right, he's pulled him back and got the advantage that way. But if he's done that, Salek gets about 30 penalties a game and is going to break the world record for penalties scored in the season, because that is the only thing that could be slightly considered a foul. And if that is a foul, then yeah, we should have 100 goals already this season.
Well, it's basically what I tweeted, that it's not necessarily about the decision being bad itself, but it's the consistency, because it even happened in the Leyton Orient game. When balls go into the box, defenders grab hold of Salek immediately, pull his shirt, let him go. Beckles was doing it all in the Leyton Orient game. It was happening in the Burton game, but the referees don't give anything for that. But as soon as we kind of see Salek using his strength for an advantage, the referee thinks it must be a foul. And it just doesn't happen. It doesn't go both ways. And I think that's the most frustrating thing about it, because to your point, Tom, Salek every game is going to the referee and saying, I'm being fouled, why aren't you doing anything about it? But he wasn't even fouling the guy then, and the referee gives a foul, and it just doesn't make any sense. And it comes to your point, Ben, that the referees in this league are just crap, aren't they?
Horrific. Just like, we were warned about it from a few Wrexham mates that it's going to be bad. I didn't think it would be this bad. I didn't think the inconsistencies and just the ineptitude would be this glaring. Like even against Leyton Orient, that the linesman on the Ninian stand, the amount of times he must, I don't know what he was doing, but he was just stood there and then the ball's 10 yards in front of him and he only starts running then. They've just really, really poor. And it's not like you can then go out and criticize the referees because the players and the managers are going to get punished for it. It's ridiculous that it's got to this standard.
Well, I mean, it's not even any better in the Championship. I was watching the highlights yesterday, and Haji Wright scored a goal for Coventry where he was 3 or 4 yards offside, and the linesman's looking directly at it, and he just gave it. So I think officials in this country are pretty poor overall. Tom, as the game wore on Tuesday, it kind of became inevitable, really, that we weren't going to score. But it was still quite a surprise to see Burton get the winner. I mean, it's a proper smash and grab, wasn't it? Ball bounced around in the box. Guy took a really good volley, goes in. It was just inevitable at that point, wasn't it, that they were going to do that?
Yeah, the longer the game went on, it felt like they just needed that one chance. And it was just bobbling about. We didn't get rid of it. We didn't clear it. And they prodded it home. And like, fair play to them. That's the type of, like, if you're a fan, that is your favourite type of win.
Yeah,
where you just don't deserve it at all. You're against a team top of the league who really fancy, like top end of the league, sorry, really fancy themselves, one of the favourites to go up. And there's about 15 of you there, and you go absolutely nuts. And like as 99% of me was absolutely just out of this world, pissed off. But there was 1% of me going, fair play. They must be having a great time behind.
Yeah,
and they're going to have that trip back to like coming down for a midweek game like that. To watch your team go rock bottom the league in a game where you're really not fancied, you've got to be a certain type of head case to do it. And fair play to every one of those head cases because, yeah, like you said, a complete smash and grab. And to be honest with you, it's kind of exactly what we deserve after not taking 8 big chances, right? Like we created enough, we'll create a lot less this year in games and win 4-0. Like Plymouth 100%. Earlier in the season, for example, or even the Leyton Orient game, we didn't create that much. If you look at our XG, favorite stat in the world, like we were nowhere near like a 4-goal team that day. It's just one of those days, and the longer you don't score in that game, the more you deserve to lose it, and that's exactly what happened to us.
Ben, we'll talk about the Leyton Orient game next because there's far more to talk about in that game. Is it the most Cardiff City thing in the world that we lost to a team who haven't won since the first day of the season?
Yeah, I knew we were in trouble when there was a lot of stats popping up that said Burton haven't won in Wales in the Football League.
Had they not? I didn't see that stat.
That's their first ever win in the Football League in Wales. And I sort of just looked, I went, yeah, that's us. Fuck then. And lo and behold, the prophecy was foretold.
Yeah, I had a look.
Cardiff.
I had a look at our head-to-head. I don't think we lost to them in League 2016, Cup. And we lost to them in the League Cup. Before that, we hadn't really lost them in any league competition. We've only played them something like 9 times, which obviously makes sense because they're still a relatively new team to the Football League, I think, when you look back in their history. So, yeah, we're always going to lose the bottom of the league, Burton. But let's talk about Leyton Orient because, Tom, I mean, we could talk about this game for hours because it was just the stupidest game of football I think I've ever watched. Did you expect it, Tom, to end 4-3? When you were looking at this game, maybe last week, did you think that it would ever get near a 4-3?
No, I texted some of my mates that it'd be 1-0 because that's what it felt like. But like in the space of 7 days, like the Wigan game into the Burton game into this game are 3 completely different games of football. And it felt like you were watching 3 completely different football clubs. Like Wigan, really assured, decent away performance, exactly what you want from it. Burton, the most frustrating thing in the world, couldn't score. Leyton Orient, pretty shite at times in that game. Didn't even resemble a game of football. I don't know what it resembled. And somehow we've scored 4 goals. Like, absolutely insane. I just didn't see it coming at all. But I tell you what, a game like that every now and again, it gets you excited, doesn't it? It's one of those days where you're looking down at your Fitbit or your Garmin, looking at your heart rate and wondering, wow, how the hell is it on 175 I'm sitting down?
Yeah, I mean...
Tom, if you're sitting down and your heart rate's on 175, for the love of God, go to a hospital.
Good point.
Like that Millwall fan at Wembley sniffed his way to 210. Ben, it was 4-3, but it equally could have ended 8-7, 10-8. It was just the whole day, the weather, the way both teams play football, the inability of teams to play football and get their foot on the ball, just created this absolute game of. I don't even know what it was. It barely resembled football, but it was just utter mad, wasn't it?
It was just chaos. It's. I've never laughed at a game so much as I did in that second half. it just got silly from the off. I knew it was going to be something special when I saw a bloke, whilst having his like jacket checked by the stewards, get blown backwards by the wind. That really made me laugh because he sort of turned into a squirrel man, and that was good. And I thought, right, this is going to be a good day. Went and got a coffee from the coffee stand just on the corner of Ninian. Asked for oat milk. They gave me normal milk. And I spent most of the game worrying if I was going to shit myself. Didn't. It was fine. But added more risk.
Horrosho did.
Yeah. All of it just culminated in just like this perfect ball of excitement and slight worry. Are we gonna bring this back? Am I gonna follow through? All of these were questions that didn't happen. Luckily, only the bad stuff happened. I didn't follow through, so that's good.
I was going to say, so did you follow through?
No, I realized as soon as I said that, I was like, the good stuff happened, not the bad stuff.
Yeah.
It was just a perfect ball of excitement and silliness, and it's one of my favorite days I've had down the Cardiff City Stadium for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the game, and I just, for the first sort of 15, 20 minutes, it felt like nothing really happened. Both teams were trying to get their foot on the ball. It was chaotic in the sense that the ball was kind of flying back and forth between the teams, but neither team could get a hold on it. It felt like when we scored, Tom, that was going to be the moment that the kind of things settled down. But if anything, it was kind of like the lighting of the torch paper, wasn't it? From that moment, things just escalated beyond all control.
Yeah, exactly that. Like when you score about the 20-minute mark, especially this season, it's calmed us. Like it has leveled us off, and then we've kind of, around half time we might add a second, and then it kind of like flows nicely for the rest of the game. But like you said, yeah, it just kicked off. It went absolutely nuts from that point onwards. And I think it's one of those games, like, if you look through Twitter, like, people are going, he's at a stormer, he's at a stinker. It's the same bloke. And it is really, really hard to tell who had a good game. And, like, we've got fans calling each other plebs for saying, like, Bagan had a good game or a bad game. And I'm like, yes, it's back. Chaotic Cardiff City is back. Because it's so hard to put your finger on what the hell happened as soon as that first goal went in. But we're just lucky that we were on the right side of it, because like Ben says, you've got to remember, like, elements, like weather like that does cause problems. Look at some of the goals that went in the Welsh League, where the ball is blowing backwards back into their own goal.
That Cardiff Met goal, yeah.
So good.
Insane. Like, so I think you've got to take that in like, that is a factor. But yeah, you've got to have a game like this every now and again. It's just fun, isn't it? It's why you go and watch sport.
That's why we're in League One as well. I was to your point about the stinkers and the people having stormers. I was just on FOTMob at the rankings, and obviously Bagan got a 6.2 from FOTMob, but there were times where Bagan looked like he was prime Messi on the left wing. He was cutting down the wing, playing passes, playing 1-2s, making tackles. He looked unbelievable, but I thought he had a bad game overall, bad compared to what he's had this season. Horrosho, we'll talk about the mistake, but Horrosho at times looked unplayable. The way he is with the ball, the passes he was raking beyond the back line, the kind of runs he was making, unbelievable. But he got a 5.8 on FOTMob. Dylan Lawler, 8.4, probably our man of the match, and he was fantastic. But the goal, which went off 2 deflections, he didn't need to keep that ball in. He slides to keep it in and puts it back into play. So you can find these little errors amongst every player. I'm not blaming Lawler for that at all. He had to try and do something. It's just like the things you can find. And that's what happens on Twitter, right? You see the microcosm of what people have seen, and then they just immediately think, I need to say this as a thought. Let's talk about the first goal, Ben, which I had to look back and check who scored the first goal and how it happened, because the game felt like it went on forever and there were 6 more goals to come after that. It was a lovely goal, wasn't it? Willock did really well. I thought Willock went toe-to-toe with his fullback really nicely yesterday. The guy tried to kind of shithouse him, tried to get in his head, and Willock was just like, no, I'm not having this, and got the better of him over the game. A lovely pass through to Robertson, who did what Robertson does best, right? Ran through the middle, put it past the keeper.
Yeah, he's the perfect. In this league, there isn't anyone better in that position. He's the exact striker you want there. I felt it was a bit against the run of play, to be honest. It was, from our sort of side of view, it was a bit of a smash and grab that way, because I thought Leyton Orient started far better than us. No one was neither side was particularly great, but I felt like they had the better chances and sort of created a bit more in those early, sort of that first sort of 20 minutes or so. And then Willock just pops that perfect pass into the channel for Robertson to run onto, and just, again, does really well using his strength. That I think because Salik's a bigger bloke, if he does exactly the same, the referee's probably given a foul. But because Robertson's smaller, he manages to shrug him off and goes through and just tucks it away. It's a really, really nice goal.
Really nice goal. It was only the leading goal for 9 minutes, Tom, as Gabriel Horrosho took it upon himself to, play a lovely cutting through ball, broke the lines of the defence, and found Aaron Connolly, who wasn't on his team. Aaron Connolly had all the time in the world to think about it. I've watched it back, and I was trying to think, what Osho has done there that's wrong. And he's done kind of everything wrong, really. He hasn't looked. He's then played a pass without looking, and he's put zero pace on the pass. Tom, what was he thinking? Can you try and get in the mind of Gabriel Osho for us there?
Oh, I'd love to. That pass looks like when you're like playing something on PlayStation, you've just not hit the button.
You pressed the wrong button.
Yeah, and it's just dribbled. Like, it's not even close to being the right weight. Like, I'm surprised the strikers almost have to run backwards to go and get it off him because he hasn't played it. Like, it's madness, really. It's just nowhere near the right pass. I think it's the wrong decision in the first place, badly executed. So fair play to him for, just all the calamitous errors in one pass. But it just summed up the chaotic nature of the game, right? Like, it's just an awful, awful bit of play from what is probably one of our technically better players in our squad. And it's a bad error, and I don't think he'll make any more close to as bad as that. Hopefully, anyway, for the rest of the season.
Well,
good point. All right, I know where you're going. Carry it, fuck on. Sorry,
that penalty against Bradford is probably as bad in just the sense of, and like I think it's quite funny. You watch him afterwards, and he has this facial expression. It's like, what was I doing? And it's like he's looking up at the screen, like, what did I do there? And I just can't. Like you said, Tom, like if he played the pass with the right level of pace, or if he just put it somewhere else, that is completely averted. But he manages to put it in the wrong place, and he hits it so tamely that Aaron Connolly can barely believe his luck. And I Aaron Connolly, it's a wonder he's in League One, Ben, isn't it? But like Leyton Orient had a lot of chances to punish us in yesterday's game. I'm looking at the stats, and I don't think there'll be many teams who come to the CCS this season with an XG of 3.5 almost, with 55% possession, with 26 shots, 11 of those on target. And they dominated us in passes, which I think is the first time this happened this season that we've lost out on passes. They're kind of towards the bottom of the league, but it felt like more like the Leyton Orient of last season. I think if they're playing like that, they're gonna trouble better teams than us, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a good side, but we were just a lot of what they got was just off our own, just fuck ups. Just absolutely having stinkers across that back line of just like every player going forward in that back four was superb. But when it was when they were doing the bread and butter of their job in the defensive like third, they were howling. Apart from Lawler, who at 19 should not be able to read a football game that well. It's ridiculous how good he is. But Kapaki had a couple of moments. Bagan had some stinkers as well as some brilliant moments. And yeah, Osho just deciding this will be funny. And just doing all of that and just, yeah. And like, it's fun because it went the right way. But Canal, I think if they have a couple of better strikers or just like they're a bit more clinical like us, they must be walking out of that stadium not knowing how they lost that game and didn't win sort of 5-6-3. Because it
was just nuts, wasn't it? And I think when you look at, we'll talk about their second goal shortly, because their second goal was completely our doing as well. But then Ballard scored an absolute worldie. So like they've kind of done a bit of everything really. And then Trott obviously we'll talk about those in a bit. You touched upon Dylan Lawler already there, Ben, but his goal, it was a fantastic dribble. To your point about him reading the game, he just saw a space, didn't he? He was crowded by 3 defenders, but they kind of all peeled away from him. He saw a space. There was a great run by Colwell to take Beckles away from the kind of man that opened it up for Lawler. And he didn't hit the best shot, but he did enough to cause problems for the keeper who spooned it into the goal. For a 19-year-old to do that, Ben, it's unbelievable, isn't it? To read the game to that level and just spot the opportunity and execute it is unbelievable.
It's class. It's just, again, it's those brilliant moments of football produces. Why no Orient player decided to go within 6 miles of him for the whole run, I still don't understand. Because as good as that run was, it never quite felt like he had the ball completely under control. It felt like he was sort of just not quite, he was sticking under his feet a little bit. If someone goes near him, he probably fucks it. But they just back off, and there's that little bit of space there. The cant and shout shoot, and he goes, yeah, go on then, why not? And the keeper just arches and it just goes sort of under him. It's one of those favourite goals of mine as well. The crowd shout shoot, and then there's like a second silence between the shoot and the ball actually going in. And you're just waiting to see what happens. It was just that the whole stadium felt silent, and then everyone realised it had gone under the keeper and gone in, and it just went mental. But yeah, just how do you do that at 19 as a centre back as well?
Yeah, and Tom, we've kind of touched upon it already, but it begs the question really: why wasn't he playing more last season? We struggled at the back so much last season. He was brilliant against Aston Villa at Villa Park. Yes, it was a one-off game. Yes, it was kind of like you can kind of get your adrenaline to get you through that. But there's such a player there, isn't there? You know, we can see it on Twitter already. Cardiff fans are worried about him going in January. There's talk of Premier League clubs already looking at him, and there has been over the summer as well. Why wasn't he playing last season?
Well, school and stuff, isn't it? To be fair to the lads. Was it
inset day for Villa, was it?
Yeah, was it Steve Bowley who tweeted that, like when he was getting interviewed after the game last year, he was the one doing the interview as part of his work experience?
Yeah, he did.
And it's like, that's why, really, because you don't want to, especially at centre-back as well, it's one of those positions where you don't get many real youngsters breaking in and staying in. So, like, it's clearly been done the right way by the club because of the performances he's putting in now. It's such a Cardiff thing to kind of, why wasn't he there earlier in a way? But it's worked because he's putting in performances like he is. But like what we're talking about earlier on, like why didn't anyone get close to him? That keeper's got to save that, right? A 19-year-old centre-back shooting from there. That is rubbish goalkeeping. You're not closing him down because you're thinking, go on, have a go then. Because you shouldn't be scoring from there, really. But yeah, like I'm absolutely buzzing for him. Like it clearly meant a lot to him to celebrate in front of the canter stand like that. Like that's what you dream of, right? As a Cardiff fan, like growing up, and you get into the first team scoring that type of goal. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more from him now going forward and having a dip because, you know, it doesn't get much better than that feeling.
Their keeper was a young boy himself. He's only 20. He got 4.6 from FOTMob and his goals prevented was -2. So he was at fault.
It's a good effort.
Yeah, fair effort.
Bad day at the opposite. He's looked at Usher and gone, I can do worse than that.
Well, we were talking about with I think the Salek goal, he was moaning about that from a corner. I think he got lost a little bit, didn't he, their keeper, because he was trying to fight when he didn't need to fight. But let's get back to the chronology of the events then. We scored, Dylan Lawler scored. That lead lasted all of a minute. And it was our complete undoing again, wasn't it? Their first attack after the goal. I've tried to kind of break it down. There's a shot that was going wide. Bagan tries to clear it, but tries to pass it out. So therefore, the ball ends up ricocheting back into the path of their defender. It goes back inside. They have a shot. Looks like it's going out of play, but Lawler has to try and defend it. Scoops it back inside. There's another shot that's blocked that then goes out to Mizuni, who then hits it against, I think, two players. One of them is Joel Colwell, that just kind of floats it past Trott, who is so lost because it's been deflected 3 or 4 times and goes in. It's one of the silliest goals we've seen at the CCS, isn't it, Ben?
You've just laid it out bare bones. I'm still not sure what happened.
No, I can't even picture it in my head. I'm trying to see what it looks like. I can't remember it.
How silly it is. Just mental. Like, again, completely self-inflicted from all points. Just clear the lines, any of that. Just don't try and play it through players. Don't try and just lay it off through that. It's not FIFA 09. You can't pass through human beings.
Nope. As Joe Bacon found out.
Yeah, all of that. It was just wonderfully shit. And again, just sometimes you just got to laugh and enjoy it because it was just funny. The whole thing of it was just comically bad.
I also think if that goal takes 1 deflection, fine. But the fact it takes 2 deflections and the second one takes all the pace off the ball. So it just kind of trundles into that far right corner. It's like, how? How does this happen?
Well, like initial shot where it goes in, the shot's going there. The first deflection takes it away and Trott sort of reacts. And I reckon if there's not another deflection, he probably catches it. It's probably
I think he probably does as well.
But it's that second deflection that takes all the pace out of it, makes it go just like almost in a funny way, so slow it trickles in. But he can't adjust his ankles again. I don't think any human can. Never mind Trott, who I do question at times is human because he's fantastic. It's just one of those. It just killed us all, and it was just like the whole thing, just stupid.
Yeah, it was stupid, but probably the goal from them that wasn't stupid came about 6 minutes later, Tom. Ballard with an absolute worldie of a finish. I don't think there's much that you can say for us. Maybe we could have got out to defend him quicker, but there were bodies in the way and they were trying to get out to him. I don't think anyone thought he would shoot from there, but could we have got it clear sooner? Is that what we miss when we don't have someone like a Will Puskod playing? Because he will just boot the ball away as far as he can, and at other times we don't do that. Could we have cleared it earlier? What can you say about their finish?
Yeah, possibly. But the thing is, if you're going to let a team have a shot every 3 to 4 minutes, like we did, there's a good chance one of them will be good. So I think that's the main problem, is that you can't let a team have 26 shots in a home game as well. I'd be shocked if Man City had 26 shots against us in most games. Like, it's ridiculous, really. But
unless you're Burton against us, then you can fucking crack on, boys.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, it's a hell of a finish. Like, it's a lovely, lovely goal. The like dip into the far corner, like, it's a cracking finish. I think, like I said, like when there's that many shots against you, one of them might be pulled out of the bag. And I think, look, you can kind of look into it and say, could we done better there? Could we have done something there? But nah, like, it's just a good goal. Fair play to him. I think it's one of those. Like, you let them have that one.
Yeah, we'll give them that one, shall we say? I'm going to try and find out now if Man City. So when they beat us 2-0 in the Premier League, they had how many shots against us? Any guesses while we're here?
14.
14, Tom. 27 total shots.
Oh, one
they
more.
Beat Leyton Orient by 1. 11 of those on target. We had 4 in response. 618 passes to our 123. Ben, after that goal, BBM really got hold of the game, didn't he? And he made that triple sub. He brought Di Turnbull on, he brought Yusuf Salek on, and he brought Amari Kellyman on. And I genuinely did think that made a difference, didn't it? It seemed at that point that we as a team kind of got focused and calmed down a little bit.
Yeah, I think the whole game, it passed the midfield 2 by. I think neither Colwell or Wintle had particularly good games. I can't particularly remember stuff either of them did. I don't think
Wintle got an assist.
Oh, true. But like, there was nothing sort of
passing the ball to Dylan Lawler 50 yards out. I'm not.
Yeah. Did he get the assist for that? I don't know if he did get the assist.
He did.
Glenn Williams tweeted about it, and I had to double check. But yeah, because he played the pass, it's an assist.
That's generous. That is fair play. But yeah, it was just one of those. It just didn't really work in that system. So fair play to BBM for just going, we'll just go for this. Let's see what happens, and chucking everything on. I thought Turnbull really sort of brought a bit more dynamic passing in when he came on. I uttered the cursed words of, I'm still not sure what to make of Kellyman. We've not seen much from him. To Ryan Mark, we were always watching the game with.
He's good.
And at that point then is when he decided to do the spin and absolutely send the right back for a pasty. It was just superb. He really impressed me, brought a lot of energy and allowed Pacquiao to undercut and get forward as well, which was massively lacking in the first half and probably why just felt a bit slow. It was just a really, really impressive performance.
I was also going to say Kellyman brought some quality on the set pieces as well. He put those 2 crosses in that we then scored the 1 goal from that was just so dangerous because he knew the wind was happening. He knew that we were going to pack the box. He just put them on the keeper and there was nothing they could really do about them. Obviously, they got the ball clear, but it was all very scrambled. So, yeah. Yeah, and I thought Turnbull, there's been criticism of Turnbull in recent weeks that he's a bit slow in that midfield, but I think that's what we needed. We just needed someone who got his foot on the ball, took a breath, and then passed it wide. And that's effectively what he did, which was fantastic. And those changes, they kind of led probably to us getting our noses back in front, Tom. Obviously, Salek came on, a couple of corners that were cleared, but then the cross came in. It was kind of... It was the perfect Salek goal, wasn't it? Cross came in, he's front post, and all he had to do was nod it past the keeper. It was a great cross by Colwell, who just looped it up and put it on a plate for Salek. But that's Salek's bread and butter, isn't it? And that's what we need to see more from him with.
Yeah, but it helps that we're putting the ball into the box for him to header, right? That is the exact goal we expect from him, and it's exactly what we didn't do against Burton, really.
We did. He just didn't score him.
Yeah, fair enough.
None of those passes at the Burton game, in fairness to Salek, were as good as that.
No, it was a great cross. It was a great cross.
Yeah.
Colwell, I put some criticism and got some slack on some absolute rip to shit on Twitter for some of the stuff I said about Colwell against Burton. Miles better against Leyton Orient, one of his best games he's had in a while, just sort of being involved in the game. And that pass was wonderful, but Burton, he was shit.
Yeah.
I believe
I think that...
Go on, Tom.
Go on. Yeah, I think but that's Salek. But that's Salek goal. Like, it's hard to miss from there. Do you know what I mean? It's a good cross. It's straight on his head. And like, that's what we expect from him. But yeah, it came at the exact right time. And I tell you what, you could see the players were up for it after that as well. They wanted to get another one. The way that Robertson runs back to celebrate and has got his arms flailing, that is a man who's enjoying playing football at the moment as well. When you're enjoying like your striking partner scoring a goal like that as well, you know that's someone who's up for it. So yeah, it was a real catalyst, that goal then, for the rest of the game.
It was, and it didn't take long for us to kind of get our noses in front for the final time, Ben. You already touched upon it, but Kellyman opened up the space on the right. I think it was Capaccio who got down the line, cut a lovely ball back for Robertson. I think that was a really mature pass to play because he could have easily just smacked it across the front of the goal and hoped for the best. But he saw Robertson, and that's what Robertson does best, right? He pulls back, he lets everyone run in, and he just takes that space. And it was a similar to goal to Robinson's against Swansea last year, wasn't it? Like he just stood on the edge of the box and slammed it home. And at that point, Ben, it felt like we'd kind of cemented the win, didn't we? It felt like that was it.
No, I completely
you mad bastard.
The game was so mental. Me and Ryan were trying to work out what was going to happen next. Like the one thing I think, the only thing making that game not like the perfect game of football was there was no horrific challenge that sort of like could have been a red card. I think I was just waiting for anything to happen. A beach ball on the pitch, like recreate that. It was just a frantic mental game. And even up until the 96th minute, I think it was the 96th minute when Trott sort of pulled the ball into it after Leyton Orient had a really tame shot. That's when I finally went, all right, we might win this. But even then, I wasn't 100% sure because I thought something could still happen.
Carry on.
It was just, but it was like a really impressive response from those players to get those 2 goals as quickly as they did. And it is led by Robinson's sort of positive influence on the team and sort of getting into those spaces and just gearing people up. He didn't stop talking to the boys all game. He really impressed me with just sort of that mature mental attitude with that isn't something I sort of had him pegged as, sort of like the leadership on that. I thought sometimes he might have wrongly sort of biased, sort of been characterized as a bit of a moaner, a bit of a sort of like throw his arms up in the air. But there was none of that from him yesterday. Just all about getting on with it and just smashing it and just having a good time and really looked like he was just enjoying the day.
I also think he's probably, with the greatest respect to him, when things are going well and you've got a manager who's getting the best out of him, he's a cheat code in this division. But obviously last season, it wasn't just him. Last season, there were a whole host of problems, right? And him and NG were probably the players who typified it towards the end of the season of not necessarily wanting to be involved, not necessarily potentially, if they're managing injuries, they're probably more likely to say, I'm not going to play this week because of my injuries than do play. And it's totally understandable, right? Last season was a shit show. The players are going to look bad in that system. But this season, it looks like we've got a completely different Robbo. And he just looks like, to your point, Ben, he looks up for it. He looks like he's putting his arm around other players. He looks like he's encouraging them. It looks like he's maturing into a leader in the dressing room, which is absolutely incredible to see. And it's so important. And it's also really important for the goals, isn't it, Tom? Because all of a sudden, we've got 2 strikers who are scoring goals. You've got Salek on 4, Robinson on 3, Colwell's got 3 as well. We've got players who are scoring goals, and the goals are coming from the front line, which hasn't happened in previous seasons.
Yeah, and when your defenders are acting like they are in games, you need that. Otherwise, you're losing that game 3-0. So
at least they're chipping in with goals as well.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's coming at the right time for us because we have questioned whether if we were getting enough goals earlier in the season, was Salah getting enough? And they are chipping away at that now. And like you said, like you say, like Robinson's got the right attitude this year. We've all been probably in jobs where we've had incompetent bosses. And that's exactly what he would have had last season, right? And you don't want to be in a workplace when you've got an incompetent boss. And that's exactly what he had in Rize. This year, you can see the players, they buy into what's happening.
They're all buying into it.
And we could be 3-2 down. And there's a belief that we can get back to 4-3 because they believe in the game plan that we got. And like Lawler after the game has said, like, we didn't play that well, but we've got momentum and stuff now. And that's true, right? There's a belief there now. Because there's been probably 4 or 5 games this season where we haven't been that good. Like we've got away with a Stockport and things like that as well. But we're 3rd in the league. So there's more to come from this team. And there was glimpses in this game of those moments. And Robinson is at the heart of quite a few of them.
We took the lead in the 70th minute, even though there was 19 minutes left, Ben. And I did say that I thought we'd see the game out at that point. Things still did happen. Salek hit the post. Capaccio went on that mazy dribble where he probably could have hit a shot straight at the keeper. And Gabe Osho, he had one more ricket in him, didn't he? Trying to take on two men at once. Somehow gave the ball away. Nathan Trott had to save his blushes.
Yeah, Trott. It's ridiculous.
He made some great saves.
Yeah, he's conceded 3 goals. None of them his fault, and still could arguably man of the match in a game we won. Work that one out. How does that happen? But yeah, it was. Yeah, like I said, that's why I just never felt comfortable in being like safe to say, 3 points here, job's done. It just never was. I mean, there was the free kick from Colwell, sort of looking at it going,
Yeah.
this would be the icing on the cake if he could do that. Instead, he slammed it at that lad's head, and it just sounded painful. It was all, just mayhem non-stop for the last sort of 25, 30 minutes. It was just, if you went to that, and I think it was fresh as there was a lot of students there yesterday in the stadium, like, it's not a bad way to do it, like sort of build up for people to come back. I'll come back to that again because that was good fun, because it really was. I saw on Twitter some people coming out going, I was really angry leaving the stadium at that. At no point was I angry leaving the stadium. I walked out of there pissing myself laughing, not enjoying the game as much as that since probably the Swansea game for very different reasons.
There was some bad defending, but we won the game. How could you be angry at that? Like, I don't understand. You've gone to watch the most entertaining game of football at the CCS probably since pre-COVID. Has there been a more entertaining game since before that? I can't think of one off the top of my head. And especially in the kind of context of the last 3 or 4 seasons, the Swansea game last season aside, we've had some last minute winners against teams like Norwich and Ipswich, but as an overall 90 minutes, Tom, so much happened. We won the game and we go third in the table. How could you be angry after that?
Yeah, exactly. It's just a mad game of football. It's the one where you wake up the next day, check the score, because you're thinking of the 5 goals gone in overnight. Because, it's just an absolute stupid game of football. And if you come on the right end of that, right, great. You've just watched absolute chaos, and you've got 3 points at the end of it, and we're in a ridiculously good position in the league. Great. We're going into an international break, and we can sort some of those errors out. So I think the last international break, we had a bit of momentum. It probably came at the wrong time for us. I think this one's needed just to calm things down a little bit and just to go, lads, look what we did in that Orient game. This can't go on because we will get thumped by a couple of teams. And it's an odd performance. Like, you look at the possession stats, that's not very us at the moment. It's an anomaly. The weather's chaotic and stuff as well. I don't think we'll see a game like that for the rest of the season.
Look at us moaning about not having the top possession stats.
Part of me died when I said that. Yeah.
Good, yeah. And who was your man of the match, Ben?
Horrosho. I think Horrosho contributed just to everything being chaos. I think without him, it's a totally different game. It's a different kind of man of the match. But if you want a person that made the game what it was, Horrosho's right up there.
Tom?
Robertson for me, I think. Like, 2 big goals. And just his attitude, the kind of the energy that he brought to that game. There was a belief there, and I think it was led by him. So I think, huge shout out to him, because, like we said, we've been the first to criticise in the past, and I think we should be highlighting how much of an influence he had in that game.
Willock was superb.
Willock was superb.
I think, managed the whole game very well, and as soon as the fullback he was up against got onto a yellow card, it was done that he was out of the game. There was no help. There was no hope for him, and I think Willock was brilliant.
I was going to say the same. I think, in maybe last season or even early in this season, the Wimbledon game is a prime example, or Port Vale game, sorry, is a prime example. You'd have seen Willock shirk that a little bit. But obviously he's got that belief now and the confidence that has come from playing in this team, that as soon as that kind of defender was trying to kind of go to toe with him, Willock was just like, you're not going to do it, and kind of got the better of him in the end. And obviously got the assist, was still putting in good crosses towards the end of the game, was still running hard towards the end of the game. I think it's credit to Willock that he's turned it around already this season, because there was a lot of anger at him at the Port Vale game, and now he's probably one of our first names on the team sheet some weeks.
There was a lot of anger in 10 minutes in as well when he missed that one-on-one and absolutely ballooned it over the bar. Yeah, I'm still not sure what happened there, because
he just hit it hard, didn't he? He just hit it. We still can talk about the Leyton Orient game, so let's go to Twitter, twitter.com/VFT Ninian. After a win and a loss, 44 tweets this week, which is kind of in the middle. We usually get about 60 if we lose, about 30 if we win. Ryan Chard, friend of the pod, really poor defensively today. Horrosho looked out of his depth. The rest all muscled off the ball too easy and looked half asleep at times. Scoring 4, though, so shrug shoulders. Felt like a game we could have won easily at the same time as a game we could have easily lost. Ninian Mike says, wanted to enjoy that, but all I can think about is who's buying Lawler and when. What an outrageous player. Horrosho even worse than CCS Madrid. Wintle needs a rest. Hope the 250-year-old Orient fans doing a swim away all game until 4-3 get home to find their jellied eels gone off. Benefactor, Horrosho, oh no. I'm all for playing out from the back under BBM, but when you've been playing that badly, surely you just play it simple. Back pass was criminal, under hit and awareness was horrendous. Fish Lawler defensive partnership, please drive. BBM, stop bloody meddling at the back. Savigma, I was going to say, you may resume your podcast now that we've won. Thank you. Thank you for that permission. Oliver Reese says, just one normal week at the club is all I ask. Bibes says, Trot man of the match today, despite conceding 3. The back 4 seems to part like the Red Sea at times. Has BBM got it in his arsenal to start Salek and Robbo together? It'd be nice to see, wouldn't it, Ben, if we see them starting a game together?
Yeah, I think it'll happen. There's clearly chemistry between the two, and it works well. But also, it's not a bad option after like 75, 80 minutes where you've run a team ragged to bring that on and just have that extra sort of firepower there. Use it as a secret weapon at times, sort of like that little in case of emergency break glass scenario. But yeah, I don't think it'll be long before they start for one game. And I hate to say it, but it probably isn't going to be as effective as we'd like it to be. I think it is going to be better sort of after 60 minutes onwards, and that we'll get the most from it that way.
Bad T, we need to stop swapping and changing the centre-backs. Josie Wales, referees are rubbish, but we don't help ourselves by not appealing enthusiastically enough. Bagan seems to do a lot of chatting to the refs when that is the captain's job. I get the impression Ruben doesn't relish that bit of his job. Gareth Davis, Kelly, man. Yeah, man. Giggsy, should we go back to Puscott and Lawler at centre-back because the changes seem to be causing issues? Not saying Chambers or Horrosho aren't good players. They have just made some noticeable mistakes already. Kellyman's cameo was great on the right, and Willock looked fired up after the nose-to-nose with Claire. Tom, Puscott seems to be the kind of fall guy in all this, doesn't he? He kind of comes in, comes out when BBM doesn't want him. But I certainly think yesterday there are elements of his game that we miss. Is him and Lawler our best partnership?
At the moment, I'd say yes, but I think Horrosho will be an absolute nailed-on starter come the end of the season because he's got that quality, right? And it's a good headache for us to have. Like, we thought we were running pretty thin as centre-backs, and now we are chopping and changing between like 4 on a regular basis. So it's just a nice problem to have. The same problem as we've got with Salek and Robertson up top, right? The only reason we want both of them to play together is because we like both players and they're both good. Like, do you know what I mean? It probably won't work, but we want to see both of them, and it's the same with our centre-backs.
MJCCFC, last international break, BBM said the main focus was rehab. Hope this time it's 2 weeks on tactics because all the games bar Wigan, we've come up short really performance-wise. Positive thing is the points return still has us up there. Stephen Harrison, what a game for the neutral. Subs made an instant impact. Love the final 30 minutes. Do you have a favourite chant for this season yet? Do you have a favourite chant for the season yet, Ben?
I think Salek scoring all the time is always just a fun one. It's something quite unique for us, which is nice. But no, there hasn't been. I haven't done any aways yet, though, so I can't really say. That's normally where the good ones come out. Home-wise, the atmosphere's been a bit pants, to be honest.
Well, the last couple of aways, Stockport wasn't a great atmosphere. So I don't even remember any of the chants from that game. I do still like us singing, "You've seen the Cardiff, now fuck off home." That is always a good one. Tom, any favourite chants that you've heard over in Australia?
Yeah, I hear them before everyone else, obviously, as well. And the clocks are going forward, so even earlier again. I think the Robinson again, ole, and the Salek one, they just are in rotation in my head constantly to the point where it's driving me crazy, a bit like Chinese water torture, just constantly going on when I'm commuting to work. But we've said this for years. We're lacking some like original chants, really, aren't we?
Yeah.
It does feel like we need a bit of a refresh, but we're playing well now. We've got some new players in. So let's see what happens. Perhaps that's what we could do over the international break, right? Everyone get their heads down. Like, don't bother with the Wales games. Just write some chants. You've got you've got AI now. There's no excuse. Like, right, use it. Yeah. I finally found the use of AI. There we go. I needed a test case. It's football chants. There we go.
Well, for the rest of the pod, Tom,
I am literally just about to do it now.
Jamie O'Connell, after the Burton game, I thought BBM was a devoted Christian, which would explain why he was petrified of the cross. After today's game, I stand corrected. Puscott and Lawler moving forward. Also feel Robbo and Yusuf need to play together more. Bluebirds, John, what a crazy game. Players look tired, need a break. Good results. Sub made a difference. Gareth Gardner, talking point is how good Kellyman was, possibly replacing Ruben. Do we change formation to 3-5-2 with our young fullbacks who love to attack? Ben, the 3-5-2, when we went 3 at the back late on, it did free up Capaccio, didn't it?
Yeah, it was an interesting change. It also helped take the pressure off Horrosho a bit. It's something I wouldn't actually mind coming in, sort of being an option playing like further down the line. It's another Bowen sort of that BBM can play with. It's not the most exciting at times, but I think like Capaccio could really work as a wing back because he was originally a winger, And it gave Kellyman the chance to sort of drift inside and be way more effective there. So, yeah, all for it if it comes off and we sort of work out the midfield balance there as well.
Sven says, what a mental week, eh? Nothing like following the Bluebirds. Top 3 cocktails, please. Onwards and upwards, baby. Ben, as a non-drinker, what are your top 3 cocktails?
Don't really do them now, but when I was drinking, loved the passion fruit porn star martini. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I know it's a bit with the girls at the Slug and Lettuce, but immense.
Nothing wrong with that, Ben. Nothing wrong with the day of the girls with the Slug and Lettuce.
No. Cosmopolitan, I like a sweet cocktail. Cosmopolitan, lovely.
Sex on the beach?
No, it's a bit too much. I like
everywhere.
What was the one in Spoons you used to get in the jug in uni? Purple Rain?
Blue Lagoon.
No, Purple Rain.
Woo-woo.
Good. And then espresso martini's all right as well. But yeah, I think I'll go Purple Rain from Spoons in the jug as well for the old time's sake.
Tom?
I'm not a fan of an espresso martini because at an end of the night, that is asking for trouble, I reckon. So, mojito, spicy marg, and a lager top.
I'm going to go with Blue Lagoon from Spoons, margarita, and then to change it up, a mescalita, just because I only really drink margaritas as cocktails. So anything with an array of Mexican liquors.
What was the last one again? Sorry,
mezcalita. It's just a margarita with mezcal.
Oh right, okay.
That's all I drink if I have a cocktail is a margarita. Amy, all the emotions have been felt this week. Near head loss, unusual for me on Tuesday to relief today. Kellyman looks really exciting and Lawler is something else. Rob Jones, an awkward one, but we look so much better up top with Robertson's qualities. Take nothing away from Salek, but he gets leathered week in, week out, League One. Good to see them both on the score sheet, and I wonder if both of them starting games could work. Drew, at least we now know why BBM usually starts Fish over Osho and Ashford over Davis. Sam, I heard the first Kellyman on Tuesday night. Thought of you straight away. And what a thrill that was after a painful watch in midweek. Finally, some quality crosses from wide. Kellyman. That's the new. We had Booman, now Kellyman. Sam Reese, 6 points from 9. Not too unhappy with that. Orient were the best team we've played this season. Lee Sanders, after Wigan was such a breeze, who saw 2 more matches coming in the same week that would be so chaotic, but in completely different ways. John Walsh, bonkers game, bonkers wins. Simon Keane, can following his club get any more emotionally exhausting? I do hope so. Jay Mills, yes, boys, put yours on me that. Sloppy in parts, and I hope Osho isn't crucified over his error. We got the goals back and got the win for the Saturday game, and as for Tuesday, well, that hurt, but there's a long way to go until May. GG the Bluebird, you could say our defence today was a horror show. A horror show.
I'm fuming that he's done that because I wanted that for the title of the podcast. Now I can't use it.
Yeah, he tweeted it. We could use it. But Lawler is another level, and Robertson was immense. Crisis, Heron just wanted a straightforward win after a bad case of Brewers droop. Very good. But that was one of the most chaotic games I've ever seen. Milo, seriously, though, it's weird. What happens when we attack with intent and put the ball in the box? Richard Endicott is XG NG's brother. Reece CFC, Osho, no show. Never seen defending like it. Not since the days of Fan Zihi, anyway. On a positive, Robinson looks so sharp. We don't need this international break for him. He's a Rolls Royce in this league when fit. Fun story about Fan Zihi. I got him to sign a ticket I had back in the early days when I was going to the games, and he was absolutely munching on a hot dog while he did it. And he was furious that I asked for his autograph. Everyone those big hot dogs in the grandstand, and he was like, sign my autograph and carried on.
I don't think humans in general should be eating those hot dogs, especially the ones at Ninian Park. But him doing that after a game just
he was suspended. He was suspended.
Oh, so
he got sent off.
He was just sat. He was sat in the game for a brief period in Grandstand Block B. The players who were like suspended used to sit at the back, and I don't know if that's because they didn't have seats anywhere else. But I saw Gareth Ainsworth there, Van Zihi a few times. My favourite one was years ago. I was in the John Charles Suite in Ninian Park, and Danny Hill, who was one of our midfielders at the time, this is late 90s, he went into the kind of concession stand in the bar and just bought 5 Mars bars. It's like, you're a professional footballer.
Absolute class.
I love that.
Put him in his suit pocket and just walked off. I was like, is he going to eat those during the game? Like, fair play to him. 5 Mars bars. It's an athlete's diet. That's what I'm going to tell my doctor anyway. Utah Jazz fans, enjoy Lawler while we have him. That boy is special. Our boys are too nice to bully opposition players back. Glad to see some fight today. Ella Espinola, is BBM the new Tinker Man? Why keep changing the centre-backs? We haven't looked solid at the back since he broke up the Lawler and Puffscott partnership. Matthew Hawkins, we're so fun. Not sure about Horrosho. Feel bad for Puffscott. I just accidentally clicked off. Zach Emanuel, one loss, one win, another hell in the cell move on Salek, resulting in no penalty. Poor offensively Tuesday, poor defensively today. Harry Dickens, it is good at football, Dylan Lawler is, isn't it? The common bluebird, do any of you know how to pronounce Tanky? Just imagining he scores and we sing he's one of our own, followed by awkward mumbling. Ben, any guess on how you pronounce his name?
Not a clue. I'm going with I just like the name Tanky for a 16-year-old lad.
I think it's Tankiewicz.
Tankiewicz. Yeah.
Tankiewicz.
Yeah.
Because it's Tanky, but then the E kind of becomes an sound. So Tankiewicz. There you go. I actually pronounced the name right for once.
Well, you've got very confident very early there, and we've had 3 pronunciations.
I'll get it wrong.
Are we also? Is this now the time to bring up the fact that the club did clear how to spell Joe Bagan's name? Say Joe Bagan's name,
yeah.
And
that was nice from them actually. Fair play.
It is Bagan, isn't it?
It is Bagan.
Yeah. So that's why I've been saying it right all game, all pod.
Oh,
we're an hour
well
in.
done you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Milo says, if I'm a scout for another club, the only centre-half I'm looking at is Gabe Horrosho. That Lawler fella is pants. Rick Lewis, the constant chopping and changing of the centre-halves isn't helping us. Fish and Lawler are building a good, solid partnership in front of Trot and should be our first choice based on performances this season. Horrosho and Chambers both have mistakes in them. We can't gamble on players. Andrew James, Orient must be gutted. Back 4 a disgrace. Fortune on our side today. I expect more chaos. Gaz says we are so lucky to have Dylan Lawler at the moment because he's destined for greatness. Sellers, defence was gash. Trot proving he's the best goalkeeper in the league. Perfect subs. Kellyman showing his quality. Shout out to Willock. RB tried to bully him, and yet after yellow card, Willock had him on toast. Salek and Robbo, best strikers in the league. Bluebirds. And David Charles says, I've got an appointment at the chess playing clinic after that today. It can't come soon enough. Right, coming up, boys. But the first question for you, Ben Price, you had a prediction about this. Alex Robertson, are we ever going to see him again?
I don't think we are. I really don't think he's coming back. I think it's just it's too many times of him being brought up and sort of saying he's got to do this, he's got to do that, and then him not making the bench. I don't think we might get a sub appearance from him, but I'm going to make a bold prediction. He'll leave in January, and before then, he won't start a game for us.
Won't start a game. Tom, it was pretty telling yesterday, wasn't it, that Tankiewicz was on the bench ahead of him. Tankiewicz, 16 years old, was talking about his versatility. BBM said he could play on the wing. Alex Robertson, again, not seen. That's the clearest indication yet, isn't it, that Robbo's not really fancied by BBM?
Yeah, I'm more likely to see him in Melbourne than we are in Cardiff. Like, I mean, he's now committed to Australia finally. But, like, it's an odd one. Like, he's going to go somewhere else. He's going to kick on and he's going to be an unbelievable player. But it's just, it hasn't worked out for him here. He doesn't want to be here by the looks of it.
Yeah.
No.
And to be fair, right, like we're in League One. We've got enough quality in that squad that we can make do without him. And I'd be more gutted if he was still in the Championship because I think he is a bit of a game changer. But if he's got the wrong attitude and he's upsetting the vibe around the place, then don't play him. It's that simple, really. If he's not up to scratch, if he's not putting the work in, don't play him. And, I like that from the manager, right? It'd be really easy to put him in and go, look, there's quality there. Let's hope he turns it around. But let's leave him out to dry because we've got enough in that midfield that we don't need to see him again.
But we say there's quality there. He hasn't shown it. He's very much part of the reason we're in League One. He came in sort of trying to change the dynamic of this field and became just a passenger very quickly. There was a couple of moments of there, but I find it. And it's sort of the way he sort of handles his international career is quite telling of sort of what I think the character of the boy is. I think the fact that he sort of tried to hold off to get in the Scotland squad because he thinks Scotland's a better level than what Australia is. Then this last couple of years haven't gone as well as it should. So he's realised, right, I'm not getting a Scotland call up, but suddenly Australia is good enough. It feels like
and Peru.
Peru.
Yeah.
Peru putting a reserve letter for him.
He's
for
been
the
kept out the
break.
side there from Paddington, isn't he? It's just I think it's a lad who's got an overinflated opinion of himself, who's had one good season at football at Portsmouth in League One. And I think he might be getting quite badly advised as well off the pitch. There clearly seems to be something there because a lot of people are expecting it to be like a really warm sort of reunion between him and BBM. BBM's first press conference made it, I felt like there was previous between the two of like
Oh,
it's
100%.
there's not like the comfortable relationship there was like people thought it was going to be. There's clearly the conflict there at some point, and it's a bit uncomfortable. And I think that sort of adds to why he's not playing as well. And I think, yeah, just for the sake of him and us, I think in January, if we can get a couple of mil for him, let him go.
Yeah, I just think he's got and to your point about last season, he played 35 games last season in various different roles and responsibilities. And all I can remember from him was a goal. Was it a goal against Portsmouth or Plymouth? He scored in. He scored one goal early on. He put the cross in for Dimi Gutas' header against Swansea. I don't remember much positive impact from him last season. I think there's a player there. I just don't think we're ever going to see it, and that's why I'm not that bothered if we don't see him between now and the rest of the season, because there are players who are doing more ahead of him in the pecking order, and that's the way it should be. And I think that's the way it's going to be under Brian Barry Murphy. Before we touch on the international break in Newport, Ben, you met the guys from Mentality Clothing yesterday, and you can see their hoodies behind Ben Price there. Ben Price is also wearing one of their hoodies. They are a locally kind of built-up company. They've been involved in football around Wales and South Wales previously, but now they've turned their hand to the clothing. And Ben, it's all about their mental health, isn't it? The story is based in focusing on men being better with their mental health.
Yeah, it's some lads. So I met Callum and Luke at the Cardiff City Stadium yesterday. They had a pop-up stand there. They've got one at the Newport game. So if you're listening on Monday or Tuesday and you're at the Newport game, pop and check them out. It's really, really nice stuff. And what I like about them is 15% of their stuff goes to mental health charities, but it's not just donating 50% of their profits. They're also going out in the community and putting stuff in place. They're doing men's football stuff. They're encouraging men to talk about mental health, which is, it's really important and plays a huge factor in sort of why we were so willing to sort of like just buzzing to sort of chat to them and get to know the guys. Really, really nice guys, producing some really, really nice gear that the club needs to do. And money's being put in the right places to help men improve their mental health, because like we all know it's coming to that time of year, like Suicide Awareness Month, everything like that. We've all seen horror stories where former players take their own lives. Men's mental health is a huge thing, and it's buzzing to see a really good bunch of lads working hard to try and improve that situation. So yeah, support them as much as possible. Their gear's wicked. You can get it at mentalityclothing.co.uk. Check them out at the Cardiff City Stadium. And also get involved if you've got issues with mental health that you want to someone needs someone to talk to, go and speak to them. The stuff they're doing with the mentality football sounds really, really cool. It's not about going there and being competitive, playing proper games of football. It's about going there, enjoying yourself, and just having someone to talk to, because we all need it. Men need to talk better, and yeah, their support they're providing does that. So good on them. They're wicked boys.
Well, that's it, isn't it? It's the stigma and it's the kind of worries around talking about it. Like every bloke goes through mental health struggles. Every bloke goes through issues. I've been through therapy. I've gone and spoken to people because I've had really bad mental health problems over the last, maybe it's 3-4 years ago now. And I'm definitely getting better for it. But we've all got it. And it's why a lot of us go to football, right? We look for that we look for that camaraderie and we look for that brotherhood. And that helps us. But you should talk to your friends and you should just ask them how they're doing, because that is the key thing. It's opening the door to those conversations. And I think the work they're doing is really important to that. So fair play to them. And if you are going to the game on Tuesday, go and support them, buy a hoodie, just pop along and have a chat, because they're doing really important work. And it's really nice that we've been able to help them and support them on their journey as well. Let's talk about Newport and the international break, Tom. Newport game on Tuesday. Who's playing?
I forgot it was on.
I thought it'd been cancelled because of the international.
Yeah, I just assumed so as well, to be honest with you. It's a strange one, isn't it? It should be more hype to it. We're playing a team like 10 miles down the road. This should be a big thing, but it's not. But I don't know. Yeah, we've got enough quality in that squad to rotate. We've got Big Tanky now coming in as well. He might get a game. But God knows, it's hard to tell with BBM. We can't pick the team for first 11 in the league. So I've got no idea what he's going to do in this tournament. But as long as we beat them, I don't care, because I would be annoyed if we lose to Newport. I know it's in some rubbish tournament, but come on, we can't be losing this one.
I think if we win, we're basically through, aren't we, to the next round? Because I think it's only 3 games in this. So if you win the 2, you're basically done. Ben, Is this where we see Alex Robertson?
It would be very funny now, so I don't think he's going to start from the start on Tuesday. That would be very me. But I think he's going away with Australia, isn't he? Yeah. So
they go on Monday, don't they?
Yeah, so probably not. But that would be very funny if he did do that as well. I quite like the idea of Tankovic starting, because I think if he plays, he becomes the youngest ever Cardiff City player.
Yeah,
which would be really cool.
Ramsey's record, doesn't he?
by like 4 or
So-
5 days.
Is he involved in the Welsh sector? Well, like, is there a chance he's not around? Like,
I don't know. I haven't
This is
seen
a
the
strange-
squad because he's 16, right? So I haven't seen the squad for his age range.
this is where, like, I did genuinely just assume this game was off because of the international break, because it has an effect on your first team and obviously, like, your under 23s and stuff like that as well. So I genuinely have no idea who's going to be put out for this game, and I'm not even sure the fans know it's on. So I'd be interested to see how many people are at the stadium.
Because we've got what? We've got Lawler, Capaccio, and Joel Colwell in the first team squad. Then you've got
For now.
And Ruben
Now, yeah.
and Isaac. Oh yeah, if he gets called up, there's a chance
because there's a chance that we've got injuries, so there's a chance that Ruben could get called up because he was called up for the previous game, wasn't he? But he was injured then. And then you've got people like Ashford, Nyakua, and a few others in the under 21 squad. So we're missing at least 7 players, I think, maybe even more.
Ashford's suspended anyway.
Ashford's
of course he
suspended.
is.
Of course he's
Yeah.
suspended anyway.
So
So we're
honest,
missing
we gave him
Yeah.
shit for it, but that is the perfect time to get a red card because he couldn't have played. He
Yeah.
wouldn't have been playing anyway. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
a very weird time for it in a very weird competition. I was listening to BBC Radio Wales on the way home. I'm still going to call it Call Rob. I don't care that Rob Phillips not involved in it anymore. It's still Call Rob.
You'll
And-
call him anyway, won't you? You got his number.
Yeah,
Hi,
I might
Rob.
drop him a text. Lovely bloke, Rob. Lovely man. But yeah, it's just even like the people there who call in, week out, aren't quite sure what this tournament is. One of the people called it a tin pot tournament, which I really enjoyed.
On that point, I've just seen a tweet from Diff Development, Mark's account. He says Tanky, Ormark, and Williams have all been called up by Wales under 17s. Officially an international window, so Welsh FA could pull rank. Maybe a compromise can be reached as we have 18 players in total called up by Wales across the age groups.
We might get a game.
Yeah, listen, if they're listed, you can register me. I'll be there on Tuesday night if you want me to play.
Shit, Anik might get a call up at this, right?
Yeah, Ali might get a caller. Well, who knows? Question mark over that then. But yeah, it's going to be even more hard to pick a team now, isn't it? When you've got all those players missing. Let's talk briefly about the Wales-England game on Thursday. Ben, do you care?
Yeah, because it's England. I want to pretend I don't care and I'm above all that, but I'm not. I'm a petty individual and I'd love us to beat them.
Tom?
Yeah, I care more than I should, as you
Yeah.
probably would have guessed. Like, I just want to see us beat England in my lifetime. Like, and I don't care if it's in a friendly. I don't care if it's because they're playing people in their 60s. As long as I see Wales beat England in football, I'll be a happy, happy man. So, yeah, I've been thinking about it for a long time leading up to this, and I'm gutted I can't be there.
I'll be going. When I look at everything around England at the moment with Tuchel and the questions he's having to ask, he's not calling up their big players. And there seems to be a bit of kind of anger towards him already from the fan base and from the fans. So it could be the right time to play them. That said, we're going to lose 4-0. Craig Bellamy's going to be very angry. And we're all going to be pretty pissed off about that. It is the international break. What are you going to be doing with your time off, Ben? Are you going to go to the Wales games? Go to
Definitely
Belgium
go to
game?
the Belgium game. Hopefully getting involved, helping Ryan March set up the TIFO. The Alternative Wales guys have settled that up. It looks wicked. It's massive. I'm still not sure what Ryan's going to do with it after the game because how do you keep a
where do you
TIFO?
put that?
Yeah, where do you keep that in a terraced house in Grangetown? Who knows? But that's for him to worry about. But it looks fantastic. Than that, it's not really like a break of football, though, is it? Because Cardiff are still sort of be involved on the Tuesday. So yeah, I'm just going to enjoy it because I do bloody love the international breaks.
Tom, what are you doing over in Australia with the international break?
I'm going to try and see if a pub will open for me to watch it at about 6 a.m., which may be a bit of a struggle. So I think I'll just end up watching it at home. To be honest, that's a bit of a cry for help, isn't it? If I do try and find it. I'll retract that. Yeah, casino is, yeah.
A cry for help
Yeah.
from the pub to open.
True. To be honest, going to a casino to watch it at that time in the morning as well is another level. So
Yeah.
saying that, I think I'll have a lovely cup of tea and watch it at home.
Fair enough. Yeah, we'll be taking a little break, I guess, but we'll probably be back next weekend because we'll have games to look forward to after that. I think the next game we have is the following weekend. I haven't looked that far ahead, so we'll be back then. If you like what we do, twitter.com/VFT Ninian. If you want to give us some money, give us the money on KOFI.com/VFT Ninian. We don't ask for money, but it'd be nice if you give us some. Viewfromtheninian.com. All our links are there for getting in contact with us. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you are listening on audio, leave us a review and make sure you're following on whatever platform you listen to. Go over to the Mentality Clothing. Boys, just give them a search, Mentality Clothing Cardiff City on Google. You'll find the link. Buy yourself some clothes from there. Ben, anything else?
No, all good, mate.
Tom, anything else?
Nothing from me.
All right, we'll be back next week. See ya!